Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let me turn that light on. Look who we got with us tonight. On a Tuesday, we got the boss BJ sitting in here. He is definitely on airplane mode. Welcome to the Tuesday night presented by the Sideline Junkies on the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network. It's the big guy KG, sitting in, of course, with the boss BJ. B, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. How you feeling? I know y'all see B Junior in the background having a blast at his game. So, if you can handle it, I can handle it. So I know it's entertainment in the background, free entertainment. That's how I'm gonna call it. Free entertainment in the background. Brian Junior going at it on his game.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. Let him do his thing. Now we're gonna start this thing off right, and the only way we can start it off is July 1st. You know what we got to do? Happy Bobby Bonilla Day, ladies and gentlemen. The greatest contract in probably baseball history. Bobby Bonilla still getting paid from the Mets every July 1st. I think for another 10 years, 2035 is the last day. He gets $1.19 million every July 1st. So you got to celebrate it right, and you got to celebrate it often. So
happy Bobby Bo Day.
If only I can get paid deferred payments like that, I'd be happy.
Oh, it's going to come soon. Trust me.
Now, we got a lot. I hope so. We got a lot to cover. So buckle your seatbelts, put your trays in the upright position, because we about to hit our cruising altitude in a second, and we got a lot to cover. The biggest thing, Dame Lillard released by the Bucks. Did that surprise you, B?
I don't know if it was a surprise. I thought they were going to move on from him because that experiment just didn't work out. And then of course Dame, tearing the Achilles. I didn't think it was going to happen like this. How about that? I didn't think it was going to happen like this, but it works out for both parties. I think Milwaukee kind of got to feel their way out now. They're out of the Damian Lillard thing, but now they got to see what's going on with Giannis. I think that's their more pressing issue. And from the reports, they're saying that Giannis isn't happy with that situation. But something we always say on this show is about business, and if that wasn't working, it's not working, and you got to switch it up, and you got to figure out what you can do to compete to win a championship. And I think it works out more for Dame Lillard. Now he can kind of rehab and pick where he wants to go instead of having to kind of deal with where the Bucks want to send him or what contract works out for whatever team and stuff. So, surprised of how it happened, but not what happened.
I didn't think it was going to happen like this, but I am surprised. If I'm not mistaken, they have to pay him $22 million for the next 3 to 5 years, something like that, as a condition of the release. So they got to pay the rest of his contract. But now that brings us to the next topic, which is kind of crazy, and it's with the NBA signings. Miles Turner signed by the Bucks, 4 years, $107 million. 15 points per game, get $107 million.
Big guy, you going in and out, big guy. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Big guy KG having a little technical difficulty.
I don't know what's going on.
It's all good. We won't get it right. Maybe cut the video for right now. See if that'll help on your side, on your end.
That's what I had to do the other day. Am I coming through clear?
Yeah, you coming through clear now. What were you saying about that Dame Lillard release?
Okay. Maybe I had to step off the video. I had to do that Sunday morning. So, but Miles Turner, 4 years, $107 million, 15 points per game, gets you $107 million.
Hey, look, that's
I was
how it's
shocked at
always.
that.
That's how it always been with the NBA. I was surprised of a couple like the filling roster signings where it's like 2 years, 18, 2 years, $13 million. I was surprised that those were so low, seeing the type of contracts we've seen dished out in the NBA the last couple seasons. I was surprised that those weren't 2 years, 40 million just off of GP.
Agreed. Xavier checking in. He doesn't want to be there anymore because he's stuck with washed people. Talking about Dame, who's washed in Milwaukee? Milwaukee got younger.
Is he talking about Dame
Who's
or is he
washed?
he talking about Giannis?
Well, if he talking about Giannis, I mean Giannis he chucked up the peace sign on his IG story. So I don't know, man.
We shall see. The only thing we can do is
a couple of more signings. Trent Jr. goes back to the Bucks for $7.5 million. SGA, who's your MVP, Finals MVP, signs a 4-year, $285 million Supermax contract extension. So that's good through 30-31. It's the richest annual salary for a player in league history. Wow.
Hey man, that's what you get. League MVP, NBA champion. And he's only at the bottom. He's at the bottom of his flight right now. All he can do is go up.
That's true. Another signing. Where my sign is at? Nuggets acquire Valanciunas in a trade with the Kings for Dario Saric. Dennis Schroeder signs a 3-year, $45 million deal with the Kings. Kind of crazy. I mean, that dude left 80-some million on the table, but okay.
Well, I was about to say that signing, at least he gets some of it back. I mean, because he lost out on that contract. That was the Laker contract, right?
I think it was the Lakers.
Laker contract, but he signed a couple contracts since then. So if this is 3 years, 40 million, and that should be good. That'll make up that money. I know he got clowned when it happened, but it is what it is. He made his choice, and 3 years, 40 million ain't bad money.
Nah, not at all. And Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to the Nuggets. 1-year deal. No numbers have came out on that. Drew Eubanks to the Kings. 1-year deal for $4.75 million. Jack checking in. Damn, NBA news is hot. Love it. Yeah, it is. Perry checking in, gentlemen. What's happening, Perry?
What's going on,
Perry?
Perry?
All you guys in here. And of course, it's been a crazy day. It has been. Larry Nance Jr. back to the Cavs. He's coming off of a fractured bone in his right hand and a knee fracture, but he's going back to the Cavs. This is one that kind of shocked the hell out of me. Duncan Robinson, 3 years, $48 million deal to the Pistons. Duncan Robinson. Now, I said what I said about Miles Turner. 15 points a game got you $107 million. Duncan Robinson.
You don't want Duncan Robinson to get his money, man?
I want everybody to get their money, but I'm like, damn, the salaries have exploded. This brother averaged 11 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds in 74 games. He only started 37 last year. 24 minutes per game. Shot 43% from the field, 39 from the behind the arc, and 88 from the line. And that got him $48 million.
Hey man, it's the NBA. That's all we can say. I was just saying about how some of the contracts just be ridiculous, and I guess they're paying for upside. I don't know what they're paying for with Duncan Robinson. Don't give me the line, but hey man, he get his money too.
You know what this reminds me of? And Perry said he not surprised. Jack said Atlanta trying to put something together, and Antetokounmpo ain't going nowhere. Bye Dame. Antetokounmpo might be either in Golden State or Chicago. Don't be surprised if he don't request a trade. But this reminds me of them days when we used to play Madden and NBA Live, and you would just be like, you know what, I'm gonna turn the salary cap off and I'm just gonna throw numbers out there and see who I can get. You would put an all-star team together just to do it. That's what it kind of reminds me of, but only that's the salaries remind me of. But I don't agree with the talent in some of these guys, but I digress. Perry said needed a shooter. They gave him Beasley's money. And 48 mil ain't shit based on the CBA and a new TV deal. And I'm glad you said that because we're going to get into that later on. I'm going to tie that back into that comment. So I want to tie that back in there. And Xavier said, what if Dame came to LA? And you a Clipper fan. You talking about the Clippers or the Lakers, Xavier? Because I don't know. I wonder sometimes who raised you.
Who's a Clipper fan?
Your nephew.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you do remember. When you told me that, that's one of them things. Your head flushes its toilet and just push that out of your head. He'll come around. He'll come around.
One of these days. One of these days. I raised you to be a Bulls fan and you become a Clippers fan?
Yeah, like the Clippers, kid. Come on. We got so many more teams. You could pick the Pelicans or something. The Jazz. Clippers, like, okay.
That's all you can say is okay.
Yeah. Okay, kid.
Trey Mann went back to the Hornets, 3-year, $24 million deal. Perry said he ain't going nowhere, talking about Giannis, and I'm like, that's not what I'm hearing. I'm hearing different. You know, with him not being happy, I'm hearing way different.
What are you hearing?
Way different.
What Giannis?
I'm hearing that he's trying to get up out of there.
That's been the case the last couple of seasons, hasn't it? And then when it got Dame to try to, I guess, make him happy and make a run, and that was just a disaster. So, and like I said, it didn't help that Dame got hurt, but it might be, you know, we'll see what's going on. You know, we got trades going on. We got some people that, you know, I don't think it's concrete, but maybe want to move out to go to contenders. So, you know, some dominoes got to fall in places, and with some of these moves. So,
and Xavier said the Clippers. Midnight Rider checking in. What up, fellas? Checking in from being in timeout. Don't see it as timeout. It's R&R. It's rest and relaxation. Stop it.
It's a rest and relaxation with a side of timeout. Damn it.
Now the boss said that. I ain't say that. Perry said Dame going to sign with the Heat for the league minimum. Watch. Damn it! If Perry said it, I know it's going to happen. I know because I trust what Perry said. I know it's going to happen.
I mean, but what does the Heat have to offer? I mean, if Dame's looking for a championship, and that's why the whole Bucks thing was facilitated. The Heat. This isn't Dame Lillard from 3 or 4 years ago. That's not making the Heat contenders. They don't have Jimmy Butler anymore. You would think Dame would want to go somewhere where he doesn't have to be the guy. And I'm not saying that, you know, as far as him not wanting to be the guy, but having help and not having what he had in Portland where he has to carry that load night in and night out. I mean, I don't think Dame is a spring chicken either. So you will want to go somewhere where you have help and have a real shot at winning the title. Where is that? It's a hand. We already know it's a handful of teams, and then I don't think we've spoken on the elephant in the room. We don't know if the LeBron James um, talk is true or not yet, and that if a trade happens there, that'll be a lot of dominoes moving around because a lot of pieces are going to move if he moves. A lot of people are going to want to play with him, you know. So we'll see.
Well, Midnight Rider said the waving of Dame shows Giannis is staying. I don't know. Perry said he's not happy with how Dame went down, but Dame happy as hell.
Absolutely, like I said,
And
it frees him up.
Xavier said,
Going to Golden State. It frees Dame. If Dame can go where he wants to go now, and you know what I'm saying, he doesn't have to. I was surprised. I mean, because even a hurt Dame Lillard, you think would still have some value, some trade value. I don't know the timetable on his return. What we talking about after Christmas with Dame, full rehab. I mean, it's one of the things like you don't want to rush him back. But I mean, if he comes back, he could really help a team, man. Just like I said, I don't think he can be the. If he goes somewhere, I hate to say this about Damian Lillard, but if he goes somewhere, he could be the number 3 guy behind a really good 1 and 2 punch, and then you got Dame Lillard coming in. That's a mean punch.
that's true. And Xavier said, what if he goes to Golden State? I done heard rumors of Giannis going to Golden State, but
If you're Golden, if you're
I've heard
Golden
rumors.
State,
I've been hearing rumors since end of the season.
if you're Golden State, if you get, let's say hypothetically, you get Dame, that's a 3. You know what I'm saying? But you got to realize your number 1 guy is aging too. So do you go get a guy that's a freight train and Giannis that can actually take over and be number 1, and then open one of the greatest shooters up to ever touch the basketball? And then you have Dame. I mean, it could work out either way. If Dame is willing to sign a veterans minimum, like we could really see some. And I'm just speaking hypothetically. You had to forgive me because I haven't been on here in a long time, and I like hypothetical scenarios. But I mean, if I'm Golden State, if I have an option, I'm going to go get Giannis because you got, well, I say you got one of the greatest shooters ever. You got Jimmy Butler that can do inside and out, and then you have Giannis that take it to another level. So you have a big 3 right there. I don't know if people remember that they have Jimmy Butler sitting there too. So
I see you, but I don't know. I've heard plenty of rumors. Golden State was in there. Chicago was in there. The Knicks were in this. I mean, but it's just rumors. Rumors are just that, rumors.
the Chicago doesn't make
And
any
Perry said,
sense.
I get you. No, it doesn't. Hell no.
Yeah,
And I'm a
it doesn't
Chicago
make
fan.
sense.
It don't make no damn sense. Perry said, I get you, BJ, but it's also about who will want them. Talking about
Who you
Dame.
talking about? Dame? Yeah, I get it. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, if my team, if I'm one of them top 10 teams and Dame is willing to come in for a veteran minimum, I'm signing Damian Lillard. You know what I'm saying? Like I already know he can score. Like I said, it's about because he's not gonna be. I don't think he's gonna be ready before the start of the season. I would assume it's gonna be Christmas. Dame's going to be ready. That's what I'm assuming. I don't have anything in front of me, so you got to be ready to take that on. Then you got basically the second half of the year to get him in game shape and get him in playoff shape. But if I'm New York, I'm like drooling. You get Dame Lillard in New York to help facilitate some more scoring and stuff. Like he doesn't have to come in. It's not his team. We got to see how Indiana reloads with Turner leaving. But it's a couple spots that it's an interesting Dame Lillard landing zone. So you just got to keep an eye out for it.
Perry said Bron ain't going nowhere. With Dame gone, that's $52 million under your cap. He said MR's dead on as usual. What didn't have trade value was Dame's contract. I gotta disagree with you with that, Perry, because I've sat on this show and said, oh, nobody's gonna eat so and so's contract, and the gentleman sitting next to me has told me, oh, somebody's gonna take that contract. But him being bought out, it makes it a little bit easier for him to move around. So it made more sense for him to get released as far as traded. Your rumor mill ain't pumping clean water. I don't think it's pumping anything clean. Look, I got my sources. My sources are deep in the trenches. And Midnight Rider always tell me, hey, you need to follow better people. Man, I follow with it. Xavier said you also had Buddy Hield.
Perry said your sources are rooted from the sewer plant.
Well, down there, Blue Plains. And Perry said if Giannis loses, it'll be to the Spurs. Watch. Ooh, him and Wemby together?
I mean, that's a nice pair, but they're not beating OKC. Who did OKC just play in the finals? Not the finals, the West Finals. Who was OKC playing? I can't even remember who it was. See how quick you remember. See how quick you forget the second, third runner-up. I don't think even with Giannis going to Spurs, I don't think they beat Minnesota. They don't beat. It's like, do you want to go somewhere and win and have a legit chance? The Spurs aren't ready yet. Even with Wemby, they got a good foundation. I don't think they're ready to take that leap. You want to go to a team that if you're looking forward to be on the contender and win, you want to go to a team, in my opinion, that finish in that top 5 or 6. Do you go to that team and take them over the top? If you're going to a team that's 8 or 9 below, you might get them to the West Finals or the East Finals, and then you're going to get beat by one of the top 4 teams. I mean, OKC's coming back in. I don't know the exact roster breakdown, but I don't think they're losing too much. Their core coming back. You have to beat that team. You have to, like I said, Indiana got some figuring out to do, but Indiana is even with losing Turner, that was a very good team, a high-scoring team. You still got to beat these teams. So you got to, is this going to push you over the top, or you just looking for money, or you just looking for a change of scenery?
And Perry said going to get Giannis is about what the team trying to get him has to offer. Yeah, that's true. They're not going to trade him for peanuts. Not going to trade him for peanuts. And he said Dame will be out for this season back in 26.
He's going to be out for the whole season? I think he'll be
back after Christmas. He'll be back at least by All-Star break. Ruptured Achilles, he should be back by All-Star break.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It would be
with the technology we got now.
We talking about after Christmas, and then will he have enough time to get in game shape? But that's why I was him, Halliburton. Have they already ruled Halliburton out for the 26th season, or is he coming back?
That's a good question. Perry said no to New York. Come on. No to New York. And they just got Clarkson. This ain't 2K, BJ. Oh, Bron is $52 million.
Yeah, Bron's 52.
Bron is $52 million. Yeah,
he opted into his deal.
Yeah. Yeah. And Perry said the Wolves. Yeah, that's what they play, Wolves. Wemby, Fox, and now Harper. Giannis puts them in play. Ooh. Yeah, they got Dylan Harper. Because everybody was bitching complaining when he got drafted. Oh, he's wearing number 2.
Yeah, you still got to wait for them other guys to develop and be ready to play. Just like we had to watch the maturation of OKC. You got to wait for these teams to be ready to make that next step. you know, I just don't think they beat OKC. Like if the goal is to win a championship, even if Giannis going to Golden State, they could beat OKC because Steph got hurt in that series. You know, so they lack some firepower. But going to the Spurs eventually, maybe I just don't think those youngins are ready to make that step. They're going to need a couple more. They're going to need a little bit more time in the rotisserie, if that makes sense.
All right. OKC isn't going to be good next season. Why you say that, Xavier? Please extrapolate.
Yeah, you know
I
something we
would
don't
love
know?
that. I want to know. Perry said no Turner or Hallie, Indy done for next year. Ooh, that is true. Dame is out for the year. That's why waiving him made sense and frees up 29 million. But here's the question: why is he out for the year when the technology we have? Achilles ain't keeping you out for the year no more. Perry said, "Yep, Hallie gone." So we talking Dame, Hallie, and Tatum all gone for 25, 26.
Interesting. Wow.
We talk about all three of them because that's kind of news there. And yeah, Perry said just like Tatum and Midnight Rider said Tatum, Halliburton, and Dame are all out for the season. I thought we've gotten to the point where we're a little bit better with the injuries, but I guess not.
See, you're saying that, but you got a whole another segment come up talking about that, don't you?
Yes, I do. And we get ready to get to that because Perry said Fox speeds them up, and Xavier is explaining. He said they're coming off a championship season. They're going to let that get to their head, and they're going to start to lose. Ooh, who's kidding you?
I think OKC is a blueprint because they got all their young talent signed up. I think one of the things you worry about is injuries, but I mean that's what I was saying earlier with SGA. This could be a start of a reign of dominance. This could be your next dynasty. I mean, like I said, that team's stacked. That team is loaded. Of course, Halliburton getting hurt in Game 7 helped a lot, but you still got to beat that team in the West. So, and if I don't know, man, I think they have a really good chance to repeat. So
let's see if we can kick that leg off.
you just trying to blow my eardrums out, ain't you?
I'm not trying to. I swear I'm not. All right. Let me see what we got here. Let's see if we can kick that leg off and get a little bit better. Maybe we can get a little bit better pace to the show. Anthony says, I can understand Dame Lillard because he's 34 years old and getting older. I don't think a guy his age can recover fast from a torn ACL. No, blown out Achilles. Blown Achilles.
Yeah, but he makes a good point. 34, and that's part of the reason why the Bucks went ahead and cut their losses. It's like 34, and that's what I was saying. We're not talking about Dame Lillard from 3-4 years ago. Maybe you hold on to him, but it's not the same. You had to. That was a shot at let's try to win another championship. Let's go get Dame Lillard. Let's go get some help for Giannis. Let's retool a little bit. Let's see if we can get back. And that was. It didn't work out. So you didn't work out, and you got to move on.
And Perry said, why you think the talking heads are saying the East is wide open? In my opinion, honest opinion, the East has been wide open since 2000. Well, if you want to be serious, the East has been wide open since 99. So the East, there's really no clear-cut favorite in the East since the GOAT retired, the second time. So the East has always been wide open, in my opinion.
Yeah, Miami had 2 runs where they were the favorites, the Shaq and Wade run, and then the big three when Braun went to Miami with Wade and Bosh. They
Uh,
would have clear cut favorites.
in my Damon Wayans voice, I know that Shaq and Wade team struggled out the gate, which is why Stan Van Gundy got fired and Pat Riley came down from up top and took over. Nobody knew that they were going to go on that type of run. That was one. The Big Three era, my Bulls were the favorite 2 out of those 3 years. And then we got shitted on in the playoffs against them because we had to play 5 on 6. I'm sorry, 5 on 8 because we had to play against the refs too. But I'm not gonna get into that. See, there you go. You know I'm not lying. You know I'm telling the truth. Anyway.
Hold on, I gotta really get into it. I need my Mozart wig.
Anthony said, I thought the NBA, he meant the NBA works on a hard salary cap, so wouldn't OKC have to give up some of their young talent eventually to massive contracts because of the hard cap? Well, you got a couple of different aprons, and our cap guys are in the comments. So we were talking about the draft on Sunday. Let's talk about the cap. I mean, Perry, Midnight Rider, you're my cap guys. Help me out. And Perry said, but without Tatum, Dame, or Hallie, wide open. Excuse me, I agree with that. And Jack Carr, the gentleman, Boston's had the East locked for 4 years.
Spoken like a true Boston guy. Yeah, spoken like a true Boston guy.
Perry said OKC is going to have to pay those young guns. Good shot at repeat, but the cap going to hit them. Yeah, that's what Anthony was saying. He's like, they're going to have to wind up giving up some guys to get that cap because you just gave SGA a supermax deal. But back to Jack's comment, he's right though. He's right. What was that? 22 when they went to the finals against Golden State. They were actually the favorite in that final.
They were?
Yeah, they were the favorite in that because everybody thought Golden State was old, but Golden State showed they had more.
Okay. I would love to go back and get the bet sheet on that. If you say it, I believe you.
And Anthony said, I think the NBA has stricter salary cap because look at the whole Florida Panthers just did. They were able to bring back some of the people that they won the Stanley Cup with. But the only thing they have to do is be under the salary cap before the puck drops at the beginning of the next season. Yeah. And Perry said, look at what happened to Boston. Yeah. And Anthony, you're right. They got those aprons. So, you got the soft cap, and then you got the hard cap, and then you got the luxury tax. Now, if you got an owner that's willing to pay that luxury tax and don't care because it means winning, there it is. Jack had to get a chuckle out of that. Ha. Hey, I'm on your side, gentlemen. Jack. Perry said, look at what Denver just did. Boston went into the finals as the faves. Yeah, and Brooklyn is the only team with money that has money this week off season, and Brooklyn ain't gonna pay nobody.
Nobody wants to go to Brooklyn.
Now we're gonna stick with the NBA because we talking about injuries, and the question of the night. Let me get it real quick so I got it right how I phrase it, and I had to. Hungry anymore. And I say the new generation, I'm talking about the young bucks that's in the league now. We know about a handful of them, they're really hungry. But I pulled up a clip, and this is why I asked that. So let me throw this clip up real quick, and you guys go from there and just listen to this.
Today's NBA player, they do play at a fast rate, but I don't think they're in the tip-top shape. I don't think these players today, I think they're in shape until they talk to motherfuckers that's in shape. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think the league is in the type of shape that you need to be in the type of shape to play at this pace.
Like, this is what Ticket talk about, that they out of shape. We practiced every day. We went up and down every day.
Like a game.
Like a game. So we 5-on-5 pretty much the whole season.
With drills.
With drills. And so now they come in and they doing a lot of individual work.
With a trainer.
So a lot of our shit was game speed. Right.
with a trainer
And then in the summer,
at half speed
right.
for 30 minutes.
Right.
And then they're going to go play a 2-hour fucking game and think they going to play.
In the summer, we play ball.
Ball,
We
hard.
play 5-on-5.
For 7 hours.
In the summer, they individual work every day.
For 30 minutes with one trainer.
Yeah.
And think that's going to be the same shit. Like, what are we
Nah,
talking
it
about
ain't
here?
the same.
Bro, motherfucker do a whole workout an hour by himself. I come in here, it's 5 niggas in one workout doing 30 minutes. Bro, this
Yeah.
is not the same shit, bro.
No.
Then he gonna go run Red Mountain and try to kill himself.
Yeah, that's why I
Come
wanted to
on,
bring
man.
up.
I think that the
Now, with that right there, that's what I say. Are these dudes hungry? Are they hungry? Because it seems like you get to a point, I'm here, I'm good. And they don't work. And Midnight Rider said something the other day, and what's crazy is he said something and it made sense. And what he said was, these guys are not fans of the game. So I'm gonna step back for a second, and I'm gonna let the boss BJ take that. Let me step back for a second, get some things together, get myself reset, so I can dive into this. Go ahead, B.
I mean, I understand what they're saying. We've talked about on this show for a couple of years now, just how all the leagues have changed, all the training have changed, and the game has just changed. Period. AAU has changed. How these kids are coming up. Everybody, is off doing their own thing. I think one of the things is like it's even with the move to them doing more individual workouts, you would think with the technology and everything that you have now that this wouldn't be a so much of an issue. But you just like the guy said in the chat, Tatum, Dame, and Halliburton, Game 7 of the NBA Finals. So then the same injury, of course, KD a couple years back. You have to. The NBA has to sit down and look at this, and these teams have to sit and really look at this and figure out what's going on. And to what Kevin Garnett was saying, he's right. They don't practice the same anymore. I don't. And me and KG talked about this in private. I don't think like a guy like Halliburton. I don't think that's a lack of love for the game. It's just how he practices. He's not the same. He's not a player from the previous generation. This is how they came up. This is how they play. And then he was pushing through injury anyway. Like a guy like Paul George, I would question his love for the game. It's certain guys I do question their love for the game and actually wanting to play versus just being 6'6" and 6'7" and just having a luxury of play, if that makes sense. So something has to change because it was heartbreaking to see Halliburton go down to Game 7. The same way we watched several other players go down, and not just NBA. This has happened across all sports with these Achilles tears, and it's just it's unfortunate, but something has to be done. Something has to be figured out. And with that, I'll turn it over to Big Guy because I know he's been boiling to talk about this all night.
Now, before I get to the comments, I see everybody with the comments and everything. Before I get to the comments, let me just say this. I'm not saying every young guy. I'm not an old man shaking his fist at the cloud. I'm not doing it. What I'm saying is it's a lot of guys that they just go out and play basketball. They don't watch film. They don't watch other players. A lot of them, they're not fans of the game. They're not students of the game. And you can tell that when they open their mouth. Anytime you can open your mouth and you can disparage a Michael Jordan, a Kobe Bryant, you can disparage a Larry Bird, a Bob Cousy, John Havlicek, a Wilt Chamberlain, a Bill Russell. Anytime you can disparage anybody that came in a generation before you and paved the way so you can do what you can do, You let me know that you're not a student of the game. You don't love this game, because I'm not saying you got to love everybody, but you got to show the respect to those that came before you. When somebody comes out and says the previous generation was plumbers and firemen and all of that, you let me know that you're not a student of the game. You don't love the game like that. Okay? Now, when it comes down to having the heart, these dudes don't go in the off season and, still hoop in the off season. But see, that's the problem. None of these dudes hoop. They play basketball, but they don't hoop. And it's a difference between playing basketball and hooping. It's a total difference. Like Iceman said it best. He said, yeah, these kids out here, they play basketball now, but back in my day, we was hooping. That's what you did. You did it on the fly. You didn't have to have pre-called stuff. If you were doing some playground stuff, you were doing it. But it worked. I don't believe that these guys love the game. Some of them, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them don't love the game. Like, maybe because I'm not in a situation. And most people probably listen to this and be like, well, you ain't never played nothing. Well, my career got ended because of injury. Not because I couldn't make it, not because I wasn't good enough. It got ended before it started because of an injury. With that being said, if you told me right now at the age of 43 that I had 6 months to work myself back in shape and I could get one season where I played 10 to 15 minutes a night, I'm going to make the best of that 10, 15 minutes. But I'm going to be in the gym all night long, practicing my ass off to make myself better at my craft. In my business now that I do whatever I have to do to make myself better at my craft. When I'm not on the clock, I'm making myself better at my craft. This podcasting thing, when I'm not on screen, when I'm not here, I'm doing something to make myself better at my craft. Why? Because I love what I do. If you love what you do, you're going to try to make yourself better. You're going to keep doing it. That's why Jordan had the love of the game clause, because I can play basketball anytime I want, anywhere I want, without having to worry about the repercussions. These guys don't have that love for the game anymore. And it's not just basketball, it's football too. Guys are talking about, oh man, we did an hour and a half practice. Man, we grew up doing 3-a-days. Yeah, this generation does not know anything about a 3-a-day. You did 3-a-days in the summer. You did one in the afternoon. I'm sorry, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, one in the evening. The one in the evening might be under some car headlights if you're playing football, or it might be in the gym. But you did 2 practices a day in basketball. You might have to practice in the morning, then you might have to go back and practice in the evening. This is what you did. But we love the game. Now, some of these guys are tearing Achilles because it's just what happens. It's a freak accident. Halliburton, he had a strained calf. I said it before Game 7. I don't think he should play. And we went down the whole medical thing about strains and tears and all of that and ruptures. We went down all of that. I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. But for people to say, well, I don't think they should play 82 games anymore. You've been playing 82 games since the league started. Well, I don't think the playoffs should be as long anymore. But all you really did was add 2 games to the playoffs back in the mid 2000s. What are you talking? So you mean to tell me we can go through all of this stuff, all these years, we don't really have that many injuries of the nature of ruptured Achilles, but now we're having more and you're blaming it on the workload. Okay. Let's get to the comments because it's a comment that addresses that. Anthony said, Ash should get. Oh, no, Anthony, that's not the guest. That guy right there, he keeps the lights on. That's the boss. He keeps the lights on. And what was his grade for the Brooklyn Nets draft? A lot of people gave him an effort for drafting 4 point guards in the first round. You got a grade on that, B?
I don't. I don't have a grade. I'm gonna let. I'll let somebody with more knowledge of the Brooklyn Nets speak on their grades. I'm gonna leave that alone. That's what I'm gonna do. 4 point guards. I think it speaks for itself. Maybe they got a plan in the league to really like do some like true small ball stuff. I don't know. I don't think they know, to be honest with you. So yeah.
Perry said the Nets had a C plus drive. That's what Perry said. C plus drive, Anthony. Jack
C
talking about Boston
plus.
4 Eastern Conference Finals and 2 Finals appearances. That's why I said, hey, y'all a favorite now, but I mean, still kind of sort of wide open because I had y'all really losing in the second round to the Knicks, but I digress. Anthony says I talk a lot of old school and new school hardcore. I talk to a lot of old school and new school hardcore NBA fans. They're saying Adam Silver is moving away from superstars and focusing more on teams who build correctly. I believe that's true because you
Yeah,
used to have a superstar in every city.
they had a graphic saying, I think it was David Stern had eight different teams that won the finals in 30 years versus Adam Silver's 8 and 12 years, I believe. And it's something we talk about all the time. People want that, like, we said it when the finals popped up with OKC and Indiana. And it was like, enjoy this. Finally, it's not Boston and LA. It's not Miami. It's not Golden State, for, last 10, 15 years. It's not, the Spurs. You get two different teams in there. And I thought it was a very good series besides, what happened to Halliburton in game 7. But people could complain, oh, it's the same two teams. And then you get two different teams. Oh, nobody want to see these teams. If you watch ball, you want to see these two teams. If you watch ball, you want to see these. And Perry and Midnight Rider, all of them said it's like if you're a true fan of basketball, you want to see this series. We've been asking for it. We've been asking for the wealth to be spread upon the leagues and not just these 3 or 4 cities. Seeing them every season. So
True indeed. Perry says so. KG and Pierce, the old guys in the room now, huh? No, I mean I think they're right. I think they're right on. I think they're right on. So, but I think they're good in what they're saying. I agree with it. To be honest. Damn, I gotta go back up. Anthony said, I believe that's why a lot of free agents don't want to be going to Miami or San Antonio because those franchises don't allow players to have their own private trainers. Well,
and what's the difference? What's the main difference between Miami and San Antonio? They have 2 old school people in place. That know that I don't want to say it's garbage because I don't want to knock the new way of doing things. But they know how things should be ran, and all this private trainer this and private trainer that is either you're working with a team or you're not. And that's though Pat Riley in Miami and Popovich in San Antonio, they run things a certain way.
all right. Of course, I knew Jack would love that video. Truth and Big Ticket. Perry said the 2 old guys in the balcony from the Muppets. Oh man, that hurts right there. That hurts. That hurts.
Oh.
Anthony said they have to use the ones that are inside the practice facility for the Heat and Spurs, and I think that's pretty much good because I mean you want to use a private personal trainer, but they may not be. Anybody can license himself as a personal trainer, but they may not have the credentials that we want to work with you. They may have you doing something like balancing on a medicine ball on a workout ball with 45-pound weights to strengthen your legs, and then you fall and you done hurt something. You out for the season. We done lost money on the investment.
Yeah. I think with anything, maybe like you said, if the personal trainers are in the building, they align with the team, the workouts and stuff the team wants to do, and they don't have you doing something wild where you're going to hurt yourself, and then a lot of it is contractual too. Depending on how these contracts are set up, like you hurt yourself, a certain way or whatever, and now it's a whole nother ball of wax that these teams don't want to deal with. So it's a lot that goes into that, but it is what it is. If it goes on, certain teams allow certain things and certain teams don't.
That's true. And Perry brings up a really, really good point here, and I love it. They're not fans of the game because they were bred as specialists since they were kids. That's the AAU's influence. And I've been saying that. I've been saying that. How long have we been on the air? Since 2018? We've been on the air 7 years. Actually, we've been on the air 8 years if you really want to count it all. And I've been saying that since we started. You said you want to count it all?
I want to count it all, damn it. Don't be
Count it
taking
all.
nothing away.
We're gonna do it live.
Do it live.
Let's do it.
Do it live.
We've been on the air for 8 years. And for 8 years, I've said AAU has ruined basketball players. It has ruined the NBA landscape because you got these kids playing year round, travel ball, this, that, and the other, but they're not learning the fundamentals of the game. Everybody want to shoot threes. Everybody want to be an ankle breaker. They want to, oh, you made a fall. Oh, I want to point at you. And then I want to back up and I want to do it again. No. You tap two-step. Back, go to the lane. That's it. That's it. Stay inside your box. Back, go. That's it. AAU is probably one of the worst things that ever came up, as big as it is, because you're getting guys that are thinking they're better than what they are. What's the dude? Young dude, Julian Newman. I remember seeing him play as a kid, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's gonna be the next big thing." I said, "No, he's not. He's gonna be the next big." I said, "The dude's a bum. He got humbled by a kid half his size. The dude's a bum." And here we are. But that's the problem. I told my wife this earlier. I said, "Baby, they don't have nobody in their life. They don't have an uncle, a granddad, a dad that when you say something super stupid, that walk up behind you and pop you in the back of your neck and say, 'Come on, sit down and watch this.'" And they showing them clips of how the game is supposed to be played. They didn't have to learn about the game before you play it. If you're gonna play something, we had to learn about the game before you played it. But I'm one of one, so Anthony said I was watching the streamer talking about AAU coaching. He says he believes some of these AAU coaches might be able to transition without going to college to professional basketball. No, I don't think so, because they lack fundamentals, BJ.
No, I agree with that, because the game has changed, and if it's a solid AAU coach that has a lot of following, that college is going to want that following. If let's just say this: if he got grips on the DMV area and he's bringing some players with him, I don't know if you guys heard Coach Vaughn on Pretenders and Contenders yesterday, and they were talking about just the influence of the colleges and NIL stuff, and how these colleges aren't really going to go get the high school players anymore, because they're going in the portal. They can go get guys that have already done it. So if you're already one and done anyway, it's basically free agency. You bring a guy in that kind of already has that mentality of one and done, ISO ball. I mean, it works out. It works out. It's not going to work. Of course, everything is not going to work for everybody, but like if the right guy can make that transition, if they understand the rules and NIL and how AAU is coming up and what to look for, they've already been in the trenches with it, and they can apply that to college ball. I think you don't say it ain't gonna work. I think it's a legit thing, especially weight ball. If we're talking about late 90s, no, absolutely not, no. But 2025, yes.
Okay. And Perry said, how many miles are on those bodies before they even get to the NBA? Yeah, it's like that with baseball players too. I was talking. Matter of fact, me, Jack,
the
and
same thing. Where's Midnight Rider?
Midnight Rider, and Jack was talking about that.
Yep.
Because
Same.
when we were talking about changeups, and I asked Jack, I was like, why are changeups now 89, 88, 87, miles per hour for a changeup? A changeup's supposed to be, at most 81, at most. You're supposed to throw a changeup 76, 77. You throwing it at 81, that's because you just put a little too much on it. But how many miles are on baseball arms and bodies as well as basketball? I think football is the only one you don't really have a whole bunch of miles on you when you get to the NBA. I mean, to the NFL. Don't think you have a whole lot of miles.
I don't agree with that. I think you get some mileage on you with the football. Don't forget, football got their AAU stuff and traveling teams, and you have parents encouraging these 7, 8 year olds hitting hard. It's the same thing you just complain about in basketball. You have in youth football where you hear the big hit and parents ooh, and you see a lot of those hits are illegal. They're bad hits, but the sound of the helmet and the pads hitting is exciting. I think you have some of the same issues on a youth football level where you have, instead of teaching the game, you get a coach where they get a superstar, a running back, or somebody that can help them win, and that's all it's about: winning, looking good. And then you get the next batch of kids in, and then the more you win, the more parents want to bring their kids to you, and that's what it becomes. It's a farming system, and it's one of them things where I use you until you have no more juice, and I throw out the rind.
Mm. I don't know why, but when you said that, the first thing I thought of was that scene in Friday Night Lights when they were sitting around, they were having a dinner, and the lady told Coach Gaines that he should play Boobie Miles both ways. Let him play in the middle as a middle linebacker, bust some heads. And he was like, "No, I don't want to get him hurt." He was like, "He's got a chance to go to college. I don't want to hurt him." And the first thing she said was, "That big N word ain't gonna break." Yeah, that's the first thing I thought about, because you'll get a coach that will overuse a player because they got talent. Anthony says, "I think these private trainers are hurting the health of these players in the long run." I believe that. Talking about Halliburton, but he injured himself in Game 5. Game 7 was inevitable. No, I'm saying with Halliburton being injured, when they said it was a calf strain, I just knew. I knew we were going to get to this road, because I said the same thing about Garnett. I'm not Garnett, Kevin Durant. I said the same thing. So it's one of those things, like, if he didn't play in Game 7, they would have called him soft. He goes out there and played, and it's, what are you doing? It's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. And it doesn't take away from the love. I think a lot of them just don't really have love. That's just my thought. That's my personal opinion. Anthony said, because I don't think that's going to work out. Like some of these streamers are saying that these AAU coaches can just jump to professional basketball without doing a stint in the G League of Europe. College maybe, but I don't see them going into the NBA. Somebody gonna take a chance and be like, you know what, the hell with it. Let me give one of these coaches a shot.
College, I can understand. Like I said, college, I can understand because it's you're not talking about a 4-year program no more. You're talking about, probably your roster changing yearly. If the coach stays, you might hold on to a couple players, but your roster changing yearly. And like I said, going in and basically picking, you got tape on these players. You can go in and pick out what you want. It's, I mean, that if you look at it from an AAU perspective, they're used to that turnover. So they're used to the turnover, the style of ball. Of course, it's on a bigger stage. But I think you'll get some of that. I really do. I think you'll get some of that. It depends on how much pull that coach has. If they have a region locked up, and that college is a part of that region, and they trying to, like I'm not saying Maryland got their coach, but the University of Maryland keeps having trouble having players in this area go to Maryland, and you got a coach that's, been here for however long and has, ties with parents and community and stuff. I can see that happening.
Agreed. Jack agreeing. He said facts. J Dub, what's going on? Anthony says, to me, I believe coaching in high school and college when it comes to those higher recruits is more about improving what they're best at instead of improving the weakness in their game. I've been saying that for some time.
But it used to be like that, but it's just not like that no more. It's about getting the horse, like KG just said, getting the horse where you can run that horse into the ground to win. You're in that horse in the ground, and not all coaches are like that. I'm not saying all coaches are like that. But you have a lot where they get those horses, and I mean, if you got a thoroughbred horse, I don't have to be a trainer to know that if I got Secretariat, I'm gonna win the Kentucky Derby. I just need to figure out how to register them.
Yeah.
And that's how some of these coaches are, like, and it's not just coaches, it's players, it's ADs. Everybody want the shortcut. Everybody want the what's my man name from Chicago that they don't like? It's
Jerry Krause.
Jerry Krause, the Jerry Krause way. They want to stand in front of the limelight after Jordan won the championship and say, "Hey, look at me, I did this." And that's what a lot of it is. Like I say, you don't have to be, the smartest man in the world to know that you got this kid named Mike Tyson knocking people out in Brooklyn. Let me go sign this dude up to fight. I can make some money off of this. Like, what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be the smartest guy, but I think that's one of the big problems, man. You get the high turnover. One, a lot of coaches aren't really teaching fundamentals and stuff. Hey, man, go. You got this kid in high school that's 6'7" and dominating. That's not coaching.
It's funny you say that because I wrote down a quote. No, well, actually a thought, and it says, when you don't have love for the game, this is just something that I thought myself. So when I say they don't have love for game, they don't work on their craft. God-given talent only gets you so far, but then you got to put in work yourself, because how it go, love your faith without work is dead. I believe that's how it goes. So if you don't put in the work, what are you doing to cultivate that talent? But that's just me. And I just don't feel like these guys really work on their talent. Just my thoughts. Some of them. Not saying all, some of them. And Anthony said because of clear safety, I think that's where the injuries come from. You have limits on how physically you can get in practice, both basketball and football. That's true. Perry said the only folks talking about not playing 82 games are cats who need a hot take. And Perry said Nets had a C draft. Midnight Rider said I gave Brooklyn an F for actually drafting 5 players and not moving anything for next year. Gentleman Jack checking in. Brooklyn thumbs down. PG's for sale. And Perry said that's the new CBA. That's what the new CBA is about. And Anthony said player safety rules when it comes to how much practice you're allowed to do during the off season, during the season, has contributed to the amount of injuries that you've seen in the NBA and NFL. I know the NFL has pared down their practice schedule where you can only practice 2 days in pads, and guys are practicing indoors now. You can't really you're not going live practices anymore. You don't. I was looking at somebody's video and they were saying when they went to Baltimore, the defense ran the practices. They would beat up on the offense every day, all day for the whole season. Like, this is early 2000s, Baltimore defense. They would beat up on the offense all day and nobody said anything. You can't do that now. And Anthony said, as people who play basketball, do you guys believe Prep Travel League, AAU basketball have hurt public school basketball programs around the nation when it comes to talent? Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely, it's become to a point where the high schools are secondary, and they rather run AAU all year. You
Hmm.
know, it's definitely hurt. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, that was I don't know how to put it any other way. It's definitely hurt. It's hurt a lot of things.
Well, when we were growing up, you play if you didn't play high school basketball, well, you didn't play basketball till middle school. For the school, you didn't play basketball till middle school. But in elementary school, you played for the rec. So the rec in your neighborhood had a basketball team. You played basketball and football for the rec. The girls could play softball, volleyball. You could even play baseball in some places. But you played for the rec. So you were familiar with everybody in the neighborhood, of course. But you learned the fundamentals. So when you went to go play for your middle school, you had some sort of a foundation, a base to go on. And then you went from there. And then in the off season, you might go back and play for the rec a little bit more. But mostly everybody, by the time you got to middle school, you aged out. When you got to high school, you already kind of sort of made a name for yourself in middle school because the high school coach is already looking. I remember the high schools used to come to our middle school because our middle school was a feeder school. So every high school that we fed into, they would put everybody in the library, the gym, wherever that were going to a certain high school, and that high school would have people coming to talk to us. That's what we had. So you at eighth grade, get ready to go to ninth, they already familiarizing you with everybody in the school, stuff like that. So it's not like that no more. And as you said, with prep travel league and AAU basketball, it's probably when you guys are coming up play hot. No, nope. Like that's what rec ball. All about rec ball. And you said football has 7-on-7 tournaments now, so that's not true. These kids are going around the nation playing seven. You know what? I didn't know that was a big thing. I thought that was just something you did to get ready for the season, but I guess they're playing that all year round now. Did not know that. I don't know. And Jack said 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Yep, 87-mile-per-hour change. More 100-mile-per-hour pitches now. What did we used to have, B? Randy Johnson, Nolan Ryan, and maybe one other person could throw 100 consistently. And then you got guys throwing it like it's nothing.
Yeah, and that's why when they come in the league and after the season, so they need Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, some of them need it before they even get in there.
Hmm.
And Anthony said, because sports in general in this era has become so specialized, we're never going to see multi-sport athletes no more like Jim Brown, Bo Jackson, Earl Campbell, Deion Sanders, and Brian Jordan. The example they were using of why they think it would be successful because of Eric Spoelstra. He was never an assistant. He was a video coordinator, but he worked his way up through the whole organization. But he was also a player. So Andy said he was able to talk to Dick Anderson, the former safety for the Dolphins, when they went undefeated once at one of my mom's sports legends. And he said when he was young, practice was a physical game, was as physical as a game. And yeah, taking it from Dick Anderson, he was a part of that defense, the Killer Bees, the no-name defense of Miami. Yeah, I know exactly who Dick Anderson is. And Shula didn't allow you to have water back then either. So, and when it comes to developing pitching in high school scouting baseball are looking for more velocity than control. That's why you're seeing a lot of Tommy John surgery. Yeah, we got to stop. Let's run through this real quick because we already an hour and 9. I saved the Wimbledon update and the All-Star voting for Thursday, but WWE WNBA expansion has been announced. 3 cities, two of them are not new. One of them is we're talking about getting a team back in Cleveland. So hopefully, I don't know if they're going to bring the Rockers name back, but Cleveland's going to get a team back. Detroit, we're not going to get the Shock back because the Shock went to Tulsa, then they moved to Dallas, and now they're the Wings. So I don't think you're going to get the Shock back, but some people saying, yeah, just give us the Shock name back. And Philadelphia is getting a team. Sophie Cunningham had some things to say about this, and a lot of people were like, what are you talking about? she think I also think that you want to listen to your players. Where do they want to play? Where are they excited to get to play? She said in the interview posted on Yahoo Sports. I don't know how excited people are going to be in Detroit or Cincinnati, where she meant Cleveland. She offered Kansas City, Miami, and Nashville as possible options that the WNBA could have chosen instead of the 3 cities they settled on. I'm I'm gonna let you have it first, B, and then I'll finish it up.
How did I know Miami was going to be one of those cities? I don't understand. I just don't understand some of the women in this league. It's like some of them are purposely taking a gun and just shooting themselves in the leg and the foot. First of all, you get this shockwave of energy into the league, and I won't name any names. I don't want to start whole nother argument or conversational piece that is boosting the ratings, boosting the eyes that's on the thing. One of the main complaints from the ladies in the league is that they don't have enough roster spots. We've seen that with WNBA draft and girls getting cut right away, women getting cut right away, right? You adding 3 more teams, more roster spots, more money coming in, and you're complaining about where the teams are playing. And I was just waiting for you to say Miami. I don't get it. I don't get all the WNBA players, not all of them. A lot of them, their supporters have been complaining. They complaining. They get new teams, they complain. They get more eyes on the league, they complain. Ticket sale, they complain. I don't know what it is they want as far as maybe if Miami was one of the teams, maybe that would have made her happy. But I would just be happy that you're getting more revenue right now. The league is probably at a level it hasn't been in some time as far as just exposure, ratings, ticket sales. You have more owners that want to buy in to bring the league more teams, because that's going to cost more money, more roster spots, more money, more travel. Is there some more things they can work on? Yeah, absolutely. Some more things they can work on to help some of the complaints that the ladies have had. But I think they're at a really good spot right now. It's just like, man, what do you want? That's all I got, KG.
I'm gonna take it a little bit further, brother. You got a city in Detroit that was fever pitch about their WNBA team. If I'm not mistaken, they won 3 titles. The Detroit Shock won 3 titles in Detroit. They moved to Tulsa because it wasn't a attendance issue. The owner moved them to Tulsa. It wasn't a money thing. It wasn't anything. They moved them to Tulsa. That's where they wanted to move. Then they wound up moving to Dallas. Getting Detroit back, their WNBA team, I feel you're righting a wrong. And I'm good with that. As far as Cleveland, the Rockers really never got to get off the launching pad like they should have. But I think they'll do well. Now, she's talking about a team in Miami. The WNBA had a team in Miami. It was called the Miami Soul. Didn't do too well down there. They only lasted 3 seasons.
The Miami Heat fans don't come to the third quarter.
Exactly.
When they're winning.
And the thing is, the Miami Heat fans will leave. If the Miami Heat are down at halftime, they're leaving. The stadium's empty. Miami is not this great basketball town. It's a good football town, especially college football and pro football is good.
They got a football
But
team?
basketball? Yeah, it's one of your rivals.
We don't have no rivals in Miami.
But you've already had a team in Miami. It didn't work out well. You talk about putting a team in Tennessee. Don't you know that the Tennessee Vols women's basketball team rules basketball in Tennessee. I'm surprised that the Connecticut Sun lasted as long as they did in Connecticut
My
because
thing is,
that's
you want
Lady
a team
Husky's territory.
you want a team in Tennessee, but you complain about Detroit. What the hell is there to do in Tennessee? If anybody listening, please tell me what's there to do in Tennessee.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Is Dolly World in Tennessee?
Uh, I think it's in Nashville. Because if that's it, I put a joint in Tennessee. Because I go to Dolly World in a heartbeat. Dollywood.
Dollywood. That's in Tennessee.
Dollywood is in Nashville.
Okay. I mean, well, if Dolly World,
Well, I'm sorry, it's
Dollywood.
in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. So it's not Nashville, it's Pigeon Forge.
Well, I mean, if it's in Tennessee, maybe that can justify a WNBA team just for Dollywood. Is it Dolly World or Dollywood?
Dollywood.
Dollywood. Okay.
But everybody gonna go to Dollywood. Come on, now, this is Dolly Parton we talking about.
I mean, put the stadium in Dollywood.
Nah, don't do that.
Put the
And
stadium, make the
speaking,
stadium a part of Dollywood. Make it a whole thing. I mean, look.
look, I'm gonna be honest, and I'm gonna ask this question to everybody listening, and then I'm done. But if you ever seen Dolly Parton in the '70s and
Get off
she
there.
sung that song about
Get off there.
Jolene,
Get off there.
what the fuck did
Get off
Jolene look
there.
like? I'm
Get off
just
there.
curious, man.
Get off there.
But I agree with you when you say they're shooting themselves in the foot, and I'm gonna say a name. And the name I'm going to say is Kelsey Plum. When that gentleman was outside the arena waiting for her to come in, and he was a fan, and he wanted her to sign the card, and she told him he was weird. That broke my heart, man. That broke my damn heart. You told that brother he was weird because he's your fan. It's like every time they get some sort of recognition, they do something to drag it right back. That hurts. That hurts. I'm going to be honest with you. That hurts.
You
Midnight
expect
Rider
anything?
said, not really. But he said Anquan Boulders, who we talking about when I was talking about when he came to Baltimore, how the practices were live.
Yeah.
Midnight Rider said, KG, did they have rims or peach baskets when you played? I had rims, sir. I mean, I'm younger than you, so you had peach baskets, sir. And Jack says, the gentleman Jack says, Tennessee is a beautiful state, and it's 45 from Knoxville. Pigeon Forge. It's 45 from Knoxville. I believe Tennessee is a beautiful state. It is. But I'm not putting a WNBA team in Tennessee because guess what? The Tennessee Vols own Tennessee. That when it comes to women's basketball, ain't nothing bigger in Tennessee than the volunteer women. I'm sorry. Ain't nothing ever gonna be big. Now, if this was maybe 20 years ago, I would go for it and I would make Pat Summitt my head coach.
Pat Summitt wouldn't leave Tennessee to go no damn WNBA team.
I don't know, man. The money would have to be right, and she would have to have a lot of control. I would give her anything
Pat
she wanted to
Summitt
go there.
would not leave the Tennessee Volunteers to go coach nobody's WNBA team.
Hey, man.
I think Don Staley is getting a taste of that now. I don't ever see Don Staley leaving South Carolina.
Well, if the Knicks throw enough money at her, she might be a Knicks next time.
Why would she want to go deal with that? Why? Why would you want?
You know what? I said this to Perry. I said, Perry, it could happen. He said, he brought up a name that I've been saying for the longest. He said Becky Hammond. I would love Becky Hammond in New York.
You just finished talking about and everybody in the comments about how coaches coach, and she's able to coach and develop young women into ladies in that South Carolina program. That's an actual coach. That's what we've been talking about this whole entire time. Coaches that coach, teach, lead. She can do all that. She can't do that in New York. She can coach in New York. She can't do anything else in New York. All she's going to be teaching is ISO. And maybe she can teach a couple of the players how to paint their nails, because I see that's a thing. But anyway, we need to get out of here. It's $1:20.
Yeah, Jack already said it. Jack clocked it. Hour 20 with the boss, man. Yeah.
We had some
Man, thank
technical
you, everybody.
difficulties. We had some technical difficulties in the beginning, so I'm gonna give them a pass.
Oh, I get a pass.
You get a
Wow.
pass.
I get a pass. Ah, shit.
You get a pass.
Stop. Touch your stuff. Hold on. I'm coming. And it's kind of funny that you're here so I can do this. And it feels good. We'll come back on Thursday for a short show. Really, really short. Cover Wimbledon, WNBA All-Star voting, and then a couple NFL trades. We'll do that on Thursday. But until then, which side is that side? That's the boss, BJ. I'm the big guy, KG. I can't say we don't do no overtime, but it's good to be back. It's 2 old school shows in a row, man. But it's good to be back. We will see y'all on Thursday. Good night
Peace.
and
Peace.
take care.